continue our topic where we talked about chronocycles, the heat engine that we use to get work done by acceleration of system. And we are going to talk about the reverse of that, basically reverse of the heat engines, basic heat engines. Okay? And we're going to experience, and we know that in our kitchen, basically everyone knows that, and everyone should know that when we go to our kitchen, when we make our way through the kitchen door, we see a huge, could be small, white box that basically is refrigerator. Talking about refrigerator, that's our topic for today. So we'll talk about refrigerator, and basically what refrigerator is you already know that, because in my previous section we talked about basic heat engines, and if you watch that video, this video would be so much easy for you. Let me tell you why. Because the basic heat engines, okay, are basically how the engine should work. Now refrigerator is basically opposite of that engine. Now by opposite I mean it's doing the process is kind of weird because it's reverse of the basic heat engines that we talked in my previous sections. Now what I mean by reverse is basically if you're in a car, okay, and you're going forward, and that's how you should go when you're trying to reach some point. But here what refrigerator does is going in reverse, so it's going backwards and going to that destination. Okay, so let's not make this confusing, and what we're going to find out is basically that the refrigerator is basically the heat engine, okay, running reverse, and I will illustrate some diagrams, okay, and we'll discuss with each other, you and me. So let's get started. But for those people who didn't really watch my videos, what happens to them? Well, I'm not gonna say go back and watch the video, the link in the description or something like that. Let's start off with recalling things, because recalling things may help you understand the concepts better. Okay, so we're actually recalling the things. So recall, okay. Now I won't be explaining the concept over here as in deep as I did in my last section. So here I'm just gonna give you a summary. Okay, so basically you have a diagram. Let me draw a diagram in blue. So basically you have a diagram which is like this over here, and this is the diagram of heat engines, and I'm gonna label those shortly, so be patient. Okay, now we're done, and let's label it with the red color. Now it's kind of just use the red. Don't want to switch the colors again and again. Now what happens is that the hot heat is going down, and the cold heat is going down as well, but not here, over here. So the cold heat is going down, okay, and what this is the cold resistance, okay, and this is basically temperature which is cold, and this is basically the temperature which is temperature which is hot. Okay, now this over here is basically the heat source, and when you have a heat source and it's the same temperature, okay, when you have a heat source, it's basically at the temperature of heat level, and it's hot, and it comes out from the rider, okay, that you build. Now this over here has some work as well. Now what's happening is that when this process is being happening, okay, let me just zoom in so you guys can see the concepts very clear. So when it happens to do some machining work like this, okay, like steam engine does. Now what's happening is that you see the pathway over here is basically spitting out work. Okay, spits work. Now we have labeled this every single thing, and this is the basic engine. Okay, so let me just label this. What we just did is basically recall this thing from the previous section, and this over here, okay, is basic. Basic engine. And if you can't see it, you will just see it in a second. Okay, basic engine. Okay, now you see that you have a heat coming out from a source, okay, and out of the difference, which is the work that you do, okay, that the engine does, the work that the engine does, this is being represented as a quotation mark that I will tell you. Now I want you guys to write these things down as I write this stuff on the board. Now what's important is that when the heat is going down and the cold is this over here turns the hot heat into cold heat, and the cold air is being stored, okay, the storage place, this is over here, and what happens is that process spits the work out, okay, and that's the spitting of the work is basically has some energy, okay. Now that process, we can summarize that and basically write, I'm just gonna write it here, I'm lazy to write it down. So what happens is the work, okay, work done by engine or machine. So this diagram is basically work done by machine. If you guys can see, just gonna zoom out a little bit, okay? If you guys can see, yeah.